Welcome to day 1770 of What You Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Still traveling. Family pictures behind me. I'm staying at my mom's for a few days more. And then I'm going to Canyon Lake. I think I mentioned that yesterday. And some other places around Texas. And one of these days I'll go back to Wisconsin. But it's as cold and as rainy as it's been here in Texas. I'm in Fredericksburg. It's sunny. It's been sunny the last couple of days, and it's finally warming up. I think it's going to be 60 something today, so I'm pretty excited. Today, for my main pieces of content, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting my journey as I've transitioned from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. And then in 2020, with the crazy pandemic of the world, I decided to do a little bit of both. So I am working both in the offline and the online world. I have come to believe, and I guess I've believed it for a long time, but I wasn't actually doing it, that everybody should have an online presence. Now, depending on you, but I believe everybody should have a business on the side as well, right? As well as your main occupation. If you're whatever you are, I think you should always have some kind of another thing that feeds your soul. If you're in a job or a profession that you thought you wanted to do when you were 17 or 18, but now you're, 40, 50, 60, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't love this. Find something that feeds your soul and that you love to do and that you're an expert at on the side. We all have those things. And there's always, especially with the internet nowadays, to turn that into I don't really care for the word side hustle. I know people have a problem with it, but another stream of income. I do like that phrase. I think having multiple streams of income, and I learned that from, oh my God, Robert Allen in the 80s, back in the 80s when he was one of my coaches and mentors. Multiple streams of income are awesome. Why? Because they give you confidence, a sense of security, the ability to do what's right for you and make decisions and choices based on your core values, no matter what situation you find yourself in, right? I remember in corporate America, there were some businesses I worked in and with that we didn't always see eye to eye when it came to what and how things should be done and implemented. And I knew that if I pushed the envelope a little too far ever, I always had one of my businesses to fall back on. So my family would be eating and we would have a place to live no matter what. And that sense of security allowed me to take more risks, make better decisions, move the business areas that I was a part of I had much, much faster than if I didn't have that little sense of security and that security blanket. I learned that from my dad a long, long time ago. He worked at 3M his entire career. He still was back in the day when you got a good job, got a good education, got a good job, and then worked there until you retired. He's probably the last person I know that has actually done that. I guess there's a few people I know that have done that and that are in the same field that they started out in out of school or high school or college. But, it's definitely the exception, not the rule. And I am a prime example of that. I remember in college, even back when I was in college in the late 70s, early 80s, they said, well, the average person will have 12 different careers, or meaning jobs in their life. And I definitely blew that one out of the water by having a whole lot more. So I believe that. And I think it's even more true today than it was back in the 70s and 80s when I was going to college. I think that the world has continued to change, and it's going to continue to change. It has changed more in my children's lifetime than in all the other generations previously combined. Our world is moving at a breakneck pace, and we can either decide to stay caught up with it or to live in it in a way that's right for us, or we can just let the world move on without us. And it's always our choice, right? Everything is always our choice. So today in our annual challenge, the BU 365-day challenge, to do one thing every day that improves us, I'm doing No Nonsense November again. And it's where I share a piece of wisdom, life wisdom that I've garnered over my last 6+ decades on the planet. And I'm trying to share a story of how I learned that lesson, but I don't know that I've done it every day. I think I forget to do that. But they're lessons that I've learned over and over and over again. Usually started out the hard way, and then it got easier and easier and easier until I figured out the lesson and I started making decisions and choices and living my life that way. It's like thinking we can do things against the law or unethical, immoral, illegal, and get away with it. Some people do get away with it, and you see that and you shake your head. You're like, I don't understand why some people get away with things and other people don't. But learned a long time ago that I'm not going to be one of those people that shirks my responsibility or tries to do the wrong thing ever, because it feels bad for me. And I always guide now myself on, how does this make me feel? If I say something and it makes me feel bad, it means it wasn't the right thing for me to say in that situation. If I do something and it feels off or icky to either my head, my heart, or my intuition, my gut, I know that there's something wrong, and I'm going to rethink that decision. Took me a long time to figure that out, that I need to make decisions, and I think I shared this already with my head, my heart, and my intuition. If any one of those is giving me a off feeling, the answer has got to be no for me right now, until I get more information or until I figure out why it is or isn't the right move for me. Didn't always live that way, and it taught me a whole lot of hard lessons by not listening and doing that as my personal check. And each of us have our own things that we need to do to make sure we're making the right moves for us. Our idiom for Supersize Your Business today was, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. And this is a really old idiom. A version of it dates back to Ovid's poem in the 1st century BC. That's about as old as it gets that we even have records of in order to deal with an idiom. But it basically means we often think and believe that someone has better results, an easier life, an easier time doing something than we do. But the truth is, we have no idea. They might have had to undergo many, many, many more struggles than we've even had to get the level of success that we've got. It's the whole comparativitis thing, or the grass is always greener. There's actually a syndrome for that. I didn't even know that. But whenever we're comparing ourselves to others, we usually don't do it in a way that makes us feel good. And if it doesn't make us feel good, then we say no to it. So we stop doing that. It leads to the whole topic of competition. And I didn't even talk about this, but to me, the only competition we ever really have is with ourselves and becoming a better version of ourselves. There really isn't any competition except what's made up, and everything's made up, right? So why would we make up things that make us feel bad? Our action item today for the annual challenge was to write a gratitude letter, a letter of gratitude to someone. And I shared how to do that, steps to do that, and why we would want to do that. We've talked about gratitude so much this year, and I don't know, every year for like the last 10 or 12, I've talked about us needing to focus on what we want and think about the things that we're grateful for and that are working out in our life already, so that we can build upon those and create more of those. I broke my ring light today. You can probably tell by the lack of light on my face and big shiny circles in my eyes. So I'm going to have to figure that out. Not sure I'll get a new one from Amazon even in the next couple of days. And then I'm traveling around, so it makes it hard to order things and get them delivered to me. If I can help you in any way, please ask. Remember, you can always boxer me at pajamagrandma@gmail.com. Is it an obscure, weird name? Yes, because my first couple years online, I showed up in my pajamas as Pajama Grandma, much to my family's chagrin. But I wasn't showing up for them. I was showing up for the people that needed to be comfortable showing up in whatever way worked for them. All right, if I can help you anyway, ask. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow. Have a fantastic day.